Disclaimer, I do not condone piracy or cloning of any copyrighted materials, and this video was made using a mod loader utilizing the original disc rather than a copy of the disc. Let's see how fast I could really beat the game. For a brief explanation, this crash is exactly a 1 in 8 chance to happen at increments of 1 minute from 3 to 10 minutes, which means for this run to finish, I have to save the game and reset back to the Wii menu every few minutes to prevent a disk read error. In order to get a fast time, however, I needed to minimize the number of times I had to do this, as the reset takes a significant amount of time, and I cannot simply use the reset button as that does not reset the timer. With that out of the way, let's hop into the run. World 1 plays out as it normally would in a speedrun, where I did the usual tricks and blasted to World 5. On this route, I decided to risk playing through up to the end of 5-1, which had a 50-50 chance of failing as I passed the 3, 4, and 5 minute intervals and saved right on the 6 minute mark from booting up Mario Wii. I reload the game and continue through the ambush, obtaining a relatively fast 5-3 with a very close call at the end on the pipe kick where I jumped on the last pixel. I traversed 5 Tower, making some small mistakes but obtaining the fastest cycle and beat up Iggy. I decide to take another save here as it has been almost 4 minutes with me hitting the save button 1 second before the second check, resulting in a 1 in 8 chance that I lost the run to this segment. I will address later in the video what time the optimal luck in this category could provide, but for this showcase run I went for fairly safe saves and strategies. After this, I played 5-4 and successfully skipped the left, which meant I also had time to play 5-Ghost House and 5-Cannon before saving once again. This segment lasted 3 minutes and 31 seconds, meaning there was once again only a 1 in 8 chance I lost the run to a premature disk error. The run continued through the first part of World 8, where I took yet another safe save after 8-2, as 8-7 is a long stage and I did not want to risk the 3 in 8 chance of the run dying if I included 8-7, as I had lost a run previously to this exact risk. The first 3 stages of World 8 went well, and I decided to take another save after 8-7 as the alternative that I planned to go for had odds of 3 in 8 of ending the run yet again, and this safer route only 1 in 8 with the 3 minute disk error. 8-Airship was a bit sloppy through the main level, but I managed to hit the fastest version of Bombless to save 23 seconds and prevent the 4 minute disk error before my opportunity to save. However, I still ran the risk of a 1 in 8 chance disk error occurring due to the many cutscenes in 8-Airship. Finally, we move on to... What? No, I'm about to crash out. Why did it do that? Dude, my sensor bar is so terrible. Well, after that very ridiculous sensor bar mishap, we move on to Bowser's Castle, where the main level was relatively clean. I managed to hit the speedrun trick above the castle to save 10 seconds, guaranteeing I would only be at a 1 in 8 risk of losing the run to 8-Castle, as I finished it in under 4 minutes including the boot time from the previous reset. And there you have it, the game has been completed despite Nintendo trying their best to cause confusion with their disk error solution to piracy. The total odds of this run being successful with the safety saves I took is about 25.65%, so running the game with such spaced out saves runs a large risk. But what are the chances of being able to complete the game in the minimum of 2 saves and 2 resets? Well, it takes about 23 seconds to get back to the map where your save is after the timer is started for the anti-piracy measures, so we'll have to include this in the calculations. The likeliest method to obtain the most optimal save route from my calculations would be to take your first save after 5-Tower, which has a 7 in 8 chance of losing the run, assuming you play well enough to beat it in under 10 minutes. For example, the current any % world record would have 28 seconds to spare in this segment. After this, you are left with 2 options for the second save. You can either play up until the end of 8-7 with a 7 in 8 chance of losing the run with plenty of time to spare, then playing the rest of the run with a risk of 4 in 8 of losing the run with 28 seconds to spare in this segment. This would mean that you would need to nail bombless, ATC or bolt tricks, which restricts this path for less experienced runners. The other option is to play until the end of 8-2 and save there, with odds of 4 in 8 of losing the run, with the any % record having 33 seconds of leniency, and playing the rest of the run from from there with no further saves, which would constitute odds of 7 in 8 of losing the run in this segment, albeit with more wiggle room, with the any % world record having 53 seconds to spare and not requiring any hard tricks. Both approaches have the same odds of 0.78%, with the second approach having easier gameplay for those who struggle with the difficult speedrun tricks at the end, but the first approach having the advantage of front-loading the luck earlier in the run for quicker resets, so it would be the more likely option to complete for a skilled speedrunner. That explanation may have been slightly long-winded, but essentially the chance of completing a run with only 2 saves is extremely unlikely, with the odds of completing a fast run on Anti-Piracy increasing as you add more saves into the run. I believe a time clocking in at the high 27-minute range would be the limit for this category, but in reality, nobody would really want to grind this out as it is simply a brutal RNG grind of a category functionally the same as any %.
Shout out to my
Disc. I have uploaded the uncut video on my second channel, Cads Extra, and have posted the link in the description and the pinned comment. If you want to see the full run performed, make sure to check it out. It was fun to explore New Super Mario Bros. Wii's Anti-Piracy and attempt to beat the game as quickly as possible. Be sure to stay tuned for the future, because I have found that it is barely possible to make it all the way past the credits, but I will explore it in another video as it requires extremely difficult execution. I hope you enjoyed the video.